your girl T. So I want to come on here and talk about this viral story. And it's coming from Nutty, New York. Like, literally, it's a nutty ass story, okay? So what's going on is that we have a college math professor. He's Jewish, he's 6'2", and he's very handsome. He's also a damn bootleg sperm donor, okay? So what's going on is that we have a man named Ari Nagel, and over the past 12 years, he has fathered 22 children by 18 different women. He's been helping lesbians around the country, literally around the world, by giving them his sperm for free. He finds these women on Craigslist, and he says that usually the way that he does this is that in half the cases, he'll sleep with the lesbians and the girlfriend will be in the bed with them holding the one lesbian's hand because she might be a virgin or have never been with a man. So he'll sleep with both of them in hopes of getting one or both of them pregnant. In other cases, he'll go into a public bathroom where there's Wi-Fi, like a Target or a Starbucks, and he'll basically play porn on his phone, and he'll ejaculate into a soft cup or a menstrual cup. So once he ejaculates into that, he ends up handing it over to the women, and then they end up inserting it into themselves. And then a few weeks later, they usually end up pregnant. So this whole situation is just a hot damn mess. And now he's being interviewed. I want you guys to go ahead and check out this news clip, and I'm gonna come back with the rest of my commentary.
To a college professor from Brooklyn, making big headlines this morning after it was discovered that he fathered 22 children. Hold on. Yes, the record didn't scratch, 22 children, but not in the way that you might think. He actually donated his sperm. He donated for free to people, women, who wanted to have children, who simply couldn't.
Yeah, 40-year-old Ari Nagel has donated sperm to 18 women over the last 12 years, plans to keep doing it as long as they're in demand. Here he is to talk about his 22 children and counting.
This isn't only a New York story, Ari. I'm sorry about this.
Well, it's more than New York. We have Illinois, we have Florida, we have New York, New Jersey, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Great balls of sire right there on the post.
A lot of the moms wanted to watch the interview, but of course they're out of state.
So, dude, how did you start doing? What was the first time? When was it the first time that you actually donated your sperm, and then you said, you know what, I'm going to keep doing this?
Yeah, it was one at a time, but it was initially it was a lesbian couple who couldn't have children.
They were friends of yours? How'd you meet them?
Yes, I sort of knew them.
Okay.
And they asked for my help, and it was a very rewarding experience. And there was also a single woman who was 40-ish, and she wasn't meeting anyone, and she just wanted to do it alone.
Well, can I tell you something? You didn't go through the normal channels, which is usually going to a sperm bank, right? You wanted to have more of a personal connection. And here's the thing, he's got 22 children, but he knows most of the children and has connections with them, which I think is great. So is that part of the process of why you wanted to do this, Ari?
Certainly. You know, I have different relationships with some of them I see very, very often. Some of them I never met. There's 4 children I never met. Sometimes they're just out of state or they were recently born. But sometimes I'm in the hospital helping with the, supporting the mom. And it's been a very rewarding experience.
You know, you have to take us through, because I read it in the paper. I know sometimes you do it at the process. Sometimes you're at your home. Sometimes you actually have sexual intercourse with these women. But there are other times where you meet a woman halfway at like a Target or a Starbucks. What goes on in the restaurant or the store there?
Yes, I know. I went to work yesterday. I was worried they wouldn't let me use the bathroom. But thank goodness they did. But, you know, just it's really wherever the moms feel comfortable. And sometimes they don't want me to come up to their house, especially since they're just getting to know me or we don't know each other that well.
So this is a process of you helping people who cannot have children, really?
Yes, and most of the time it's in the home, or sometimes it's in a clinic. If they couldn't do it on our own, they have to go to a clinic, and I'll just pretend I'm the boyfriend.
All right, let me ask you a question. You're a single guy. You're a professor.
It's a good-looking
You're
guy.
very good-looking.
Yeah.
A lot of the women are like, wow, he's very good-looking, and he's single in Brooklyn, and he has a job.
Yes.
Now,
and I have 22 kids.
And 22 kids.
Here's the story.
So, yes, of a guy named Ari. Listen, so did you ever think about getting married at some point in your life? And how are you going to explain to somebody who might want to have a relationship with you?
It could be a little difficult on my social life. Sometimes I don't bring it up, right away. But if they say they have a 4-year-old, I say, oh, I have a 4-year-old too, and maybe I'll just talk about that.
And 13 more 4-year-olds.
Yes.
Good for you, man.
Is there going to be a 23?
I don't know. Are you ovulating? We're sitting pretty close.
What? Yes, sorry, I am. The bathroom is right over there.
That's a great answer right there. That was the best.
Oh, you're funny, Ari. You're funny.
Quote of the day.
It is. It is. What do you say to that? I have no idea.
Listen, the man takes responsibility, enjoys it. it. He enjoys the
well,
love.
He does enjoy
he
it.
enjoys the process, and he enjoys he basically, you said it's up to the mother now whether or not she wants you to be involved somehow.
100%.
And if they want you, you're there.
Sometimes it just starts off as graduations and birthdays. Sometimes it's like, can you watch them for the weekend? So it transitions and changes. It's very dynamic.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing because you're helping people who cannot have children, and you're also taking ownership of it.
Ari, thanks, buddy.
Great.
Okay. Are you obviously? You're not.
We'll find out in 9 months.
My legs are crossed for a reason.
Pix 11.
Beautiful
day leave. We'll find out.
All right, so you guys just watched the news clip. So now the craziest thing is that out of these 22 kids that he has been sued for child support 5 times. And he's saying now that he's going broke from paying child support. He never agreed to this. These women knew what they were getting into, and he doesn't think it's fair. But he's going to go ahead and take care of these 5 kids. He's even said that he's surprised that all 18 women haven't taken him to court, which I think is kind of bullshit on the women's part. So you mean to tell me that you couldn't afford in vitro fertilization, you couldn't afford to go to a clinic and do it the right way? This man does you a favor, and then in return you get upset and you end up suing him for child support? I think that's BS. But with that being said, I just don't agree with this. I know he thinks that he's helping people, but it's obvious it's also hurting him in the long run, being that he's getting hit with child support charges, and you have women getting their feeling that he's not doing enough for their particular child. Well, that's what happens when a man has 22 different children by 18 women. He cannot be in 18 different places at once. I just don't understand where we're coming as a society when you literally find a man off of Craigslist, have him basically nut in a cup at Target, you insert it into yourself and then have a child by him. I just find the whole situation just kind of creepy and disturbing. And why I can understand why people feel like he's a good donor, because he's 6'2", he's very smart, he is handsome, he's very witty, he's funny, he has a really cool personality. So I can see why a lot of women would be attracted to that. But I also have to think to myself, what are these kids going to think when they get older? Are these siblings going to get to know each other? And then you got to realize a lot of these women live in New York. So these kids may end up dating or going to the same school and not even realizing that they're siblings, So the whole situation to me is just messy. And I also find it crazy that a lot of the women that he's been a sperm donor for have been Black women. So that's kind of surprising as well. When I first heard this story, my first thought was, bruh, like really? It's like a real life version of Spike Lee's She Hates Me.
What the hell are you doing here?
I want you to be the father of my child. Alex and I were feeling maternal.
Where in that film you had a sperm donor just sleeping with all types of different women, doing them favors and getting them pregnant. The shit that people do just seriously do not surprise me anymore. And the fact that these women are so comfortable taking sperm from a stranger and inserting it to themselves, to me is just creepy. They don't know this man from a can of paint. For all they know, he could have all types of STDs, HIV, and everything else. I'm assuming that he doesn't, but you just never know. You're meeting a guy off of Craigslist and you're basically getting free sperm from him and creating a child, creating a human life. It's almost like anything just goes nowadays in this society. The whole situation to me is just mind-boggling. I don't understand why anybody would just go on Craigslist to go look for their baby's father. But I guess it's no different than some women out here having one-night stands just trying to get pregnant. But I also find it really damn ridiculous that 5 of these women had the audacity to sue him for child support. You know what you're doing when you're meeting somebody off of Craigslist and you're getting sperm from them because you want a kid. So at that point in time, you are deciding to be a single mother. And I don't think that these women should receive any type of child support. I think that's bullshit. You decide to get pregnant in a bullshit ass way. So now you figure out how to raise and feed your child. So the whole situation to me is just really damn ridiculous. So anyways, you guys, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this entire nutty ass story, honey. Once again, coming from Nutty, New York. How do you feel about Ari Nigel and this whole sperm donation situation and him having 22 kids by 18 different women? So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right, deuces. Hey, you guys, it's your girl T. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share my videos. You can also visit Lovelyti.com to purchase any merchandise. Also, don't forget to click the boxes down below to watch any of my previous videos. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.